Hey Warhawks, Colonel Wilson here again with my wingman Chief Blaze, coming at you with episode 17, Freeform Friday. Had a nice Thanksgiving, Chief. We were able to get away and get some time away, spend some time with family. How about you? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was fantastic, sir. Yeah, it was. I had some. My wife's mom was in town. I mean, she's really my mom. I was gonna really not even complete high school, and if it wasn't for her, so it's pretty neat to be able for her to kind of be a part of this, and she really is like I would say like a number one fan kind of thing. She treats me like her son and has pictures of me all over her desk at work and everything. So
nice.
It was really great to have her out and have some great time together.
She ever expect what you become? Was that ever an expectation?
Yes.
Was she surprised, or is it just like, hey, I knew you could do it. I'm glad to see you fulfill your potential.
Yeah, she's encouraged me like throughout my career, and I think always just she said just keep being you, right? Like that was the main theme, main message, and yeah, it's a pretty special relationship.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've got a great relationship with my in-laws, as you know as well.
Yes, sir.
So that's great. Hey, so we are
Senior Master Sergeant Lazenby, right?
Senior Master Sergeant retired Lazenby.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and retired civil servant Lazenby too. Retired twice
yeah.
from the government 2 times. So awesome. Well, speaking of that and family, we're heading into the holidays. We find ourselves here in the first week of December very quickly. And we know we got those 2 weeks at the end of the month coming up where we'll get a little bit more downtime. So that's nice to look forward to as well. So, but we also have some other things coming up here. 7th of December is the 79th anniversary of the Pearl Harbor attacks, the attacks on Pearl Harbor from the Japanese Empire at the time. And we lost 2,400 Americans. It was, I think, the first time that we'd ever endured any type of foreign attack on our land. And I think Admiral Yamamoto afterwards, I think his famous words were something along the lines of, "We have awakened a sleeping giant," I believe. Right. Although there is apparently a little controversy as to whether he really said that or not.
But I don't know. It was true.
Whether he did or didn't, it was true.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, he did awaken a sleeping giant. So we pay some homage to all our veterans out there and those that served in that World War. The greatest generation, I think, is the term that's used, and so we're very thankful for them and their service, and some of them are still around today, but their legacy lives on. We have one of our own airmen here, Airman Fugit, here in our front office. One of his family members was Lieutenant Whiteman, who Whiteman Air Force Base is named after, who died in World War II. There's a nice article in the AETC highlights this morning about that. So that was pretty cool. What's your thoughts on Pearl Harbor? I know you had some connection there too, right?
Big time. I wouldn't be in the Air Force, sir, if it wasn't for right across the street from me. I look at my front door of our house was James and Helen Crocker, and he was one of the most just kind of stoic, steady individuals of character to model, and they would always come over on every time it was. I was raised by my grandparents. Every time there was a birthday in our house or my birthday, she would come over and. We would kind of joke that it was like Betty Crocker, right? Like, because that was their last name. So, but I just admired his work ethic and his passion. But in my early years, I didn't realize he was a Pearl Harbor survivor. He was there. He was in the Army Air Corps, and this, like I said, I was a guy barely graduated high school. I was working in a local grocery store. I walked by a recruiter one day and I saw that Air Force symbol, but I thought of him and I thought about his service, and to be something and to carry on what I thought was really, really special. I said, hey, it just felt right. So it was really an honor to know him and his family, and to think of all they went through that day and being in paradise. It was pretty much an R&R tour, and to be shook in the way they were. But like you said, it was a defining moment that really rallied a bigger cause of what was going on globally. And I think there's some parallels, sir, between there was a world war at the time, like on both sides, and now the world is fighting a different war against COVID.
Yeah,
and we are as well.
It's about their legacy, right? And that's why we do this. We remember their legacy. Their legacy's been felt from Korea to Vietnam to OEF, OIF, and here we are today at war again. We're at war with a different enemy, rather than a physical enemy, a conventional enemy. We're at war with the pandemic. And the interesting thing is that their legacy has kind of built that spirit, that warfighter spirit in us that continues on. And you can see it in how we've responded to the pandemic and to COVID every day, how we continue to train, how our training pipelines remained open, how our tech training classes continue on, how we fight and we fight through. It's pretty awesome. Had a good opportunity to talk with our squadron commanders this week, and that was one of the things that we kind of talked about is, man, what a readiness exercise, what a drill this COVID has been. It really has prepared us for war, if you think about it, and that's kind of the ultimate thing. We've created innovation and solved problems across the board. And when you think about going to war and you think about that type of thing like a World War II, that was a huge problem-solving exercise. So, yeah, COVID, absolutely. It's here, and it's an enemy, but guess what? We won World War II. Guess what we're going to do here with COVID? We're going to win.
Yes, sir.
No doubt about it. So,
yes, sir.
Thanks to everybody out there that continues to fight every day. Hey, we also wanted to use this opportunity real quick to announce our quarterly award winners for the first time. We're going to do it right here on Freeform Friday. And I have the list here. So, Chief, actually, you know what? Would you help me out here? So we'll take turns here. So in the junior enlisted category, Airman First Class Caitlin Kennedy of the 320th Training Squadron. Congratulations, Airman Kennedy.
From the non-commissioned officer category, Staff Sergeant Soleil Izquierdo. From the Inter-American Air Forces Academy.
Yeah, we had a chance to go out and talk to her. Lefty.
Izquierda.
Izquierda is Spanish for left, so she says they call her Lefty, or at least the Americans do. Senior non-Americans, or those that don't have the Hispanic background. Senior non-commissioned officer Master Sergeant Shantae Bonilla from the 345th Training Squadron.
Out of Fort Lee.
Out of Fort Lee. Congratulations.
Company grade officer is Captain John Red from the 323rd Training Squadron. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Field grade officer Lieutenant Benjamin Werner from Detachment 5. Congratulations, Ben.
Civilian non-supervisory category 1 is Jody Wall from the 322nd Training Squadron. Congratulations, Jody.
Congratulations, Jody. All right, we have the civilian non-supervisory category 2, David Reyes, the 737th TRIS Training Support Squadron. Congratulations to you.
Civilian non-supervisory category 3 is the Jay Taylor from the Wing Staff Agencies. Everybody, he's a Cowboys fan, so make sure you continue to pray for him.
All right, congratulations, Jay. Great work. Civilian supervisory category 3, David Kranick, Mr. Kranick from the 737th Training Support Squadron. Congratulations, Mr. Kranick. And those are our quarterly award winners for this quarter, for the fourth quarter. It was fourth quarter, right?
Third quarter.
Yes, sorry about that.
Sir.
Third quarter. But congratulations to you all. And I think we've gone out and seen pretty much everybody in person. I think we have a call here later on today with Det 5, and so great job. So as we have promised, we transitioned our format just a little bit. We're going to do some Q&A here. We have Miss Brittany Warwick from our Public Affairs Office here to read some questions that we've received through Warhawk Solutions. So Brittany, if you would, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Number 1, why is the wing continuing to move forward with holiday social events when COVID numbers are increasing?
Yeah, thanks. Great question. I'm glad to be able to tackle this one head on. So the Winter Wonderland has drawn a little bit of controversy, and I'm happy to address the controversy and take it head on. So we talk about resilience, we talk about families. There has been a very strong demand from many families for social connectedness. I know it's hard to believe in this environment with all the isolation and quarantine and different things that are going on, but yes, our families are feeling a little bit disconnected. And so we've had some events as time has gone on. Our Halloween event, we had a senior NCO induction. And just to give everybody a little bit background on those events, they're outdoor events. They're socially separated. Masks are required. Temperatures are taken. The fact that they're outside makes the communicability of the virus very, very low based on the science as we understand it. And so, yes, there is always risk in everything we do every day, and we're trying to take calculated risk. And yes, we acknowledge that the numbers in JBSA are higher than they have been in the past, but we still feel as though, based on the fact that we're doing it outdoors and not indoors, that is a huge safety measure that's in place. That's a huge safety firewall that we add. And so we're not looking at this in a binary way. We're not looking at this as a yes or no. We're looking at this as, hey, what can we do to get our families, build some sense of community, get people out of their isolation, get some connectedness, but still do it in a very safe way. And Chief, we've had some success already with events that are exactly like this. I feel like we got the muscle memory to do this the right way and in a safe and effective way. And that's our intent for right now, is to continue on. We have, I think, 5 or 6, I think we have 6 booths lined up. We got Santa Claus lined up. Now, of course, Santa Claus will be from afar. And I know we have some families that are planning on coming. So I want to iterate to everybody out there. This is 100% voluntary. If there is anybody exerting what anyone feels like is any undue pressure, that is not coming from me, and that is wrong. They should not be doing that. This is for families. This is for members that want to do it, and only those that want to do it. Same for the volunteers, same for the participants. We do not want people feeling pressure to do this, especially in this environment. That is the last thing we want. And right now, there's some concerns about that, and so I'm making that clear here, and I will continue to make that clear. I made it clear in our staff meeting this week. I'll make it clear in our staff meeting next week. It is 100% voluntary. It's intended to be 100% voluntary. And if at the end of the day we don't have this, we don't feel like we have the support and the participation, we will not do it. But we're not going to not do it just because there's some external concerns. We're trying to use data. We're trying to use information. We're trying to use the science as best we know it to make calculated decisions.
And sir, if I could add, I think one thing is that just if you look at the activity itself, this is what we do every day in the 37 Training Wing. We're just making it a priority to do this for our families, provide a venue. We continue to train, at relatively close intervals, following CDC guidelines, and have been very, very successful about not having the spread of the virus in the wing for several months. And I think that data, those lessons, our individuals know how to do this safely, know how to keep individuals safe. And again, we've had other events that were very successful, but we think there's more risk out there than just COVID. There's a risk of people feeling alone. There's a risk of people feeling disconnected, and especially this time of year, even if it's some small gesture where they can look somebody else in the eye, share a story, share an experience. We think that that's absolutely worth this investment and this focus.
Yeah, I think we know the holidays are the times where people have the highest potential for some mental health issues, and connectedness is really important right now. And for anybody to kind of downplay that, I think that would be I think that would be a concern for me. So we're going to go forward, and our plan is right now to do it. But again, it's going to be based on context. It's going to be based on information. But right now, we've got a great plan in place from safety measure. We got a great plan in place for adding to our community and giving them things that we think that they want. And so we're looking forward to the event. So.
Yes, sir. Number 2, will there be an increase in HPCON conditions since the positivity rate for COVID is climbing?
Yeah, good question. One that I don't own, our installation commander, Brigadier General Miller, owns that decision. But what I've understood from her correspondence is we're going to remain at a Bravo Plus for the time being. So that's Bravo with extra measures. I think she's looking at it.
Every day,
yeah. Continually. I don't think it is time driven. I think it's condition driven. But we do know that holidays, people are going to leave. They're going to leave the area. They're going to go spend time with family. We know this. And so the potential for leaving for a period of time and then coming all back to the same place, there's a higher potential risk for COVID spread at that point in time. So my guess is that, not my guess, but from what I understand, there'll be a harder, more scrutinizing look leading up to and then after the holidays. But for what we know right now, it's Bravo Plus for the continued future based on conditions, and General Miller will make that call as she deems appropriate. But I want to let everybody know that I know she's looking at that every single day. I know that we are having CAT meetings with her leading the charge on that every single day, and we will comply absolutely 100% with whatever her decisions are. But as of right now, we remain in Bravo Plus.
Yeah, and I think just for the audience, watching wherever you may be, understand that there's how much effort and energy goes into that assessment and decision every day. So there are teams that are linked up, crisis action team that is focused on that. General Miller is looking at every single individual case. She's getting expertise from the local community, from the 59th Medical Wing, and all those people are rallied around following that situation, again, every single day to make sure that it's the right call.
We have some amazing public health professionals. Our 59th Medical Wing, we're very blessed to have them right here supporting us every day, and General DeGoes and his team. And they are there in lockstep with her, advising as she goes. And so she is getting the best possible advice from the smartest possible people on the subject matter. So I hope that answers your question. But for right now, it's Bravo Plus.
Yes, sir. Number 3, what is the wing doing to increase reliance, resiliency among the airmen and their families?
Yeah, great question. So we'll kind of a little bit refer back to question 1, which is Winter Wonderland. We are continuing. Now, this is just a very small part, but we continue to try and do community activities as best we can. I think the message is out there. We've heard from families time and time again that, hey, Zoom isn't getting it done anymore. Hey, we are feeling disconnected. Hey, we want community. And so that's part of the resilience. That's only one small part, though, Chief. We have a number of other things for our spouses and our families. We'll talk about MFLAX. MFLAX, we have garnered 5 additional positions for MFLAX that have been placed throughout our squadron so that when our members or their families have any kind of issues that come up, they have somebody to talk to. And those MFLAX are really valuable. We have a True North program that's coming online between FY21 this year and FY25. And for those that haven't heard about True North, it's a wonderful program, really good for us because we are able to garner new manpower positions for mental health professionals, for chaplains, for social workers, for a number of other things. And so that is a huge benefit. You're going to see that. We'll have some positions coming on the books between 21 and 25. And it covers pretty much every organization that we have on base, all 4 of our groups in our wing staff agency. We have that. We have the Bounce program. I know Jen has been really active.
Just last night, sir.
Do you want to talk about the Bounce program a little bit?
Yes, sir. So really the focus of the Bounce program is some of you may be familiar with the resiliency training that's out there, Master Resiliency course. What the focus on Bounce is we know our military youth, our children who PCS with us or just go through the challenges, the transition from children to adults. They could really use some resiliency skills at that point in their life. So what it is with Balance is really to give them different coping skills, and it's really kind of targeting that 10 to 15-year-old group. But Jen has been working for the past several months with actually one of our spouses in the 344th, to really focus on developing a group of facilitators to be able to deliver that to our youth. And I'm really, really excited. I think it's fantastic. I have a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old, and I really wish they would have had these kind of skills and techniques earlier on. So I think it's a great effort and initiative. And I think another thing just to be able to tell everybody too is resilience is going to continue to be a focus of ours because we know our airmen are going to be asked to do tough things. I think they actually have become more resilient this year. That's what I've perceived and I've kind of witnessed. They've done hard things. They've proven to themselves that they can kind of team up with others and they can communicate when they need help. That's always one of the biggest things is to let people know. First thing is if you're not feeling normal, you need to communicate that to your teammates. Also, I think the great thing about True North and what that brings is having that embedded care system. So they have relationships with people around them they can go to and have those conversations versus, nobody hates anything worse than, hey, I don't feel right. I think I need to go talk to somebody. Hey, I can't get an appointment for a month. That is a bad situation that, Air Force leaders are trying to tackle. And I think these are some of the measures to get people around them to be able to support them in whatever was going on in their life.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'll talk about the fact that our spouses are now getting certified as RTAs, as Resilience Training Assistants. You think about that. We have a large number of our Key Spouse Program, members of our Key Spouse Program and our spouses that are out there that are getting RTA certified. And we're actually right now fighting to get them MRT certified as well. So that's a huge thing. We had the squadron commanders this week again, and we talked about Key Spouse Program. Key spouses, if you are out there and you are listening, you are a member of our command team, and you 100% are probably one of our biggest resources when it comes to reaching out to our families and our spouses, getting feedback from them so that we know what we continue to provide. So that's where a lot of that feedback on those community support activities has come from, is through our Key Spouses Network. They are absolutely essential in a COVID environment where people are isolated and feeling separated, like they have no resources, they have no help. And that's just not true. For those that are out there, we are here to help. Please, if you have anything, please reach out to your key spouse. If you don't feel like directly reaching out to your chain of command or your member's chain of command, please do that. So there are a ton of things we can talk about. We can talk about non-accession weeks for our MTIs. We can talk about Exodus for our tech training school. We can talk about modularized training and trying to get more time for our instructors. We can talk on and on and on about resilience, but I don't know that they want us to go on that long.
I was going to say, but there's really not many conversations that you and I don't have that don't involve focusing on reducing stress on the team.
100%.
There's almost everything that we talk about. It's either getting rid of this, modernizing what we have, connecting people. I mean, it is all about that.
Yeah, I mean, a good example was, over the last couple of days, we've changed the process for company grade officers that are going into BMT. And there's a little bit of stress and anxiety with our commanders about that because they are heavily reliant on their flight commanders. Mm-hmm. And so we tackle that problem. Every single thing, every day that we pretty much talk about, it's about the stress, the anxiety of our members and their families and their resilience. And so we continue to fight, and we always will. So, Brittany, what else?
One more. Can we evaluate a reception process for BMT similar to our sister services, processing, quarantine, and uniforms issued before coming to a line squadron?
Yeah, so this is a great question. Sounds like there's been some visits to some of our sister services. Sounds like this could be a byproduct of that, and I love it because we're trying to get better, we're trying to innovate, we're trying to learn from how they're doing it, and they're trying to learn from us. So this is great. So we did send a team out to Great Lakes not too long ago to kind of look at some of those things. What I would say is, first, on the quarantine question, there is not going to be any way that we can quarantine those cohorts before, and those trainees before they get on that bus. Because once they get on that bus, and once they get on that, or they get that ride to the airport, and once they get on that flight, and then once they get through the airport here, we just can't control that. Like, that is beyond our control, and we have to have some measures in place. So I don't see any way that we'll ever get around the restriction of movement requirement upon arrival for our trainees. But there is some things we can look at. We can continue to look at testing before they arrive and different things like that. And so, we don't necessarily own that process, but we have a large say with our recruiting service and our Air Force recruiting service. And so we'll continue to look at that. I think there's some great ideas there. Uniforms and processing, some of those things. What do you think about that, Chief?
Yeah, I mean, so with the early decision right now, they're getting issued PT gear and some of the other cold weather gear earlier on in the process. But I think the important thing is, so again, these are things that are looked at, I would say, almost weekly, if not daily. I mean, Chief Guyton and I, we always have things. Hey, can we do this better? Can we adjust this? And every one of those decisions is really focused on two things. Is the time worth it? Does it need to be there if we make that change? And then the second thing, the manpower that's going to take to execute that. A lot of the things that, if you think about it, is keeping individuals safe. Is when we bring those material items to him, it's because in the first 2 weeks they are in that kind of self-contained quarantine. They are not able to really leave much of that campus, of the facility, the dorm that they're in. So that's why we bring the PT gear to them without having to go through all the different measures on sizing. It would be a much bigger logistical challenge to bring all those uniform items to 8 facilities. That actually brings additional risk of the transmission of COVID. So we're kind of looking at those things in parallel. But I would tell you is that the team is actually already looking at the lessons learned from Great Lakes, and then all the other institutions out there. They talk quarterly and compare kind of some things. But for right now, we feel the stance we're in is the best to both protect the time of our MTIs, and then also to really say, hey, will that add value in the training process?
Yeah, I think, and the reality is, these things that we're talking about, processing, trainees, uniforms, they take time and they take manpower. Let's just be honest. Let's call it what it is. And so if you shift that responsibility to another organization, there'll be an expectation of shifting manpower along with it to be able to do those things. So I think that'll be a part of the discussion, is the way that we earn manpower is all those tasks and all those activities that we have. And so it's not necessarily a question of where's the right place to do it, as in terms of who's organized, trained, and equipped to be able to do those functions. And right now the answer is basic military training, the 37 training wing. So Brittany, I think that was our last question. Have we had any questions as we've gone along today? Do we have anything out there that
No, sir.
No, nothing?
Nope. Just
Okay.
a lot of people tuning in this morning.
All right, that's great. Well, Chief, that's episode 17 in the bag, I think. 17. We'll look forward to 18 here next week. I think next week we'll be out and about. We have a flight commander's course.
It is my favorite part of the week.
Yeah, Friday. Oh, I love Friday.
Yeah,
we'll be out and about this afternoon as well. Fun Friday follows this. I think next week we have the Security Forces Officers course graduation, and the flight commander's course that I'll be speaking at here to close that out. So thanks to everybody out there. They're doing great work for the 37 Training Wing. On behalf of Chief Blaze, this is Colonel Wilson saying thanks so much for what you do each and every day. We look forward to seeing you. We are out. Warhawks train to win.